Oh, what is the up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXHockeyCast. We're on episode 128, Toronto Maple Leaf legend Ty Domi, but also a special shout out to Claude Giroux. Just love that guy. Of My Little Hockey Show, where once a week I go through all the major news and what's happenings around the NHL, semi-focusing in on the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Calgary Flames. Those are my two favorite teams, but I'll be discussing all 32 teams on this podcast, particularly this episode, because we're doing the Pretenders and Contenders thing that everyone does around this time of year in the NHL, around American Thanksgiving. We get a good look at who has the best chances at making the playoffs or not making the playoffs. This is generally the time where you can tell that. But this year feels a little bit different because so many teams are kind of middling, doing okay-ish, but not great. There's not a lot of teams right now that are running away with the league. There's not a lot of teams that are out and completely out right now, so it's kind of been an interesting season. We'll dive into all that. We'll go through the teams and kind of go back on my beginning of the year predictions and see how I've done on these early predictions and see how that's been going. But before we get too far down into that rabbit hole, let's talk about some of the news that's been going around. And I feel like the biggest news going around is in St. Louis, where they fire head coach, was it Drew Bannister? Anyway, Bannister is out, and Jim Montgomery already got himself a new job and a sweet 5-year deal to go along with it. Absolutely, he's going to take that. And there you go. Jim Montgomery is now the head coach of the St. Louis Blues. And fun note on that one, in 2019, it was in and around this time where they fired Mike Yeo or something was their coach back then, and they brought in Berube. I feel like a lot of people know what happened. It kind of gets brought up a lot, but St. Louis went from the bottom of the league to a Stanley Cup. It absolutely turned their whole season around. Binnington comes in, and Gloria. It was a fun year. That was a very fun year and season. They take out the Bruins in 7 games in the finals. Oh, so good. And that's going to happen again, right? The Blues are going to do it again. They already have Binnington in net. He's going to turn it around. He's going to get 15 shutouts straight. Fucking that Thomas guy, he's back in the lineup. I can never remember his first name, but he's back. He's going to score 50 for some reason. And fucking Kyrou and everyone's going to be amazing. It's all over. Everybody just cancel all your bets. Put it all on the Blues for the Stanley Cup. It's going to happen. That's just how history works. If it happened once, it'll happen again, damn it. But in all seriousness, an interesting move. From what I'm gauging, it's Bannister, sadly, is just kind of taking the L on this one. No real, it's not really his fault that the team is underperforming. You look at the St. Louis Blues, the way that they're constructed. Yeah. I mean, you can kind of expect him to be a little bit underwhelming, but really the reason why he got let go was because of the availability of Jim Montgomery. It's apparently been known that St. Louis has been very interested in Jim Montgomery for quite some time, and the second he became available, they shot their shot. They went right after him. Apparently, Montgomery surprised by this. I doubt it, but there you go, buddy. You got, 2 weeks off? And you're already back coaching in the NHL. So good for St. Louis, I guess. Like, they get the guy that they really want, and we'll see. I think they've rattled off 2 wins now since the coaching change. So yeah, they're well on their way to a Stanley Cup. They're going to be good. We'll deep dive into the standings and everything, see if they do or don't have a shot at making it. But what's going to happen with Drew Bannister? Well, I would imagine, like a lot of people are, he's going to land somewhere on his feet. I feel like there will be a coaching shift about to happen here really soon because of the Montgomery firing. It felt like a lot of people were kind of waiting to see what the fallout of that is going to be, who's going to get Jim Montgomery, and then maybe the teams that thought they were going to get him that didn't get him, they will rather stay with their hand, they'll just stick with it, or they'll fire them and find another guy. Maybe Bannister is a guy that some other team is going to be interested in. We'll just have to wait and see on that one, but yeah, man, we'll see if St. Louis can turn it around. I know there's a lot of heat right now with Detroit's coach. I don't remember his name right now. It's not there, but Lalone maybe? I don't know. but there has been a long-standing history with Detroit coaches since the owners took over in the 80s. They have never fired a coach mid-season. It has never happened under their ownership. Things can change if some amazing coach came right by, and you're not going to let that kind of thing just go by. Hopefully they didn't. If they really wanted Jim Montgomery and they're not willing to fire their head coach right now in Detroit to grab him, well, now he's gone. So that ship has sailed, and he will not be fired from St. Louis for, I don't know if he'll last those 5 years, but at least 2 or 3 years you would have to imagine. So Bannister will probably land somewhere else. Montgomery lands somewhere almost immediately. And we'll see what happens with Detroit. If you're a Detroit fan, don't hold your breath on him getting fired, because they have not done it in like 50 years, firing a head coach mid-season. It's just not something that they like to do. But, do you want to make the playoffs this year or not? It's something that you might have to explore as the Detroit Red Wings. So we'll see what's going on right there. But a new coach in the NHL is pretty cool. And what else is pretty cool are milestones. Let's talk about a couple of milestones that got hit over the last whatever amount of time. Pittsburgh Penguins, Sidney Crosby, might have heard of him. He just scored 600 goals in his career. No, in one singular game, 600 goals. But no, Crosby has hit 600 goals in his career. I mean, we continue padding more stats for Sidney Crosby. Every time something happens with Sidney Crosby, the rumors of his movement get brought up more and more. Apparently, he was spotted in Toronto, because if you just can't visit Toronto as a hockey player without rumors floating around that you will be traded there. Would I love Sidney Crosby to join the Toronto Maple Leafs? Abso-fucking-lutely. That would be amazing, but there's no freaking way he's going to do that. It's just not going to happen. I truly believe that Crosby won't leave the Pittsburgh Penguins. There's really no reason for him to do so. He's won everything. He's done everything. There's really nothing he needs. He doesn't have to sacrifice his legacy with the Pittsburgh Penguins. He can stick it out with them his whole entire career, which is something that's become more and more and more rare in the NHL. You don't see that very often. And a lot of the times when it does happen, it's looked back on not very fondly. Like, people don't look back on, if Ray Bourque didn't win that cup in Colorado, it would have been a fucking travesty if he left the Bruins, you know what I'm saying, and didn't win that cup. Thankfully, he won it, so it wasn't that bad. But like Alfredson on the Detroit Red Wings, you got Matt Sundin on the Canucks, like all of that shit, good intentions. We wanted these guys who didn't win to try and win, but we look back on it and go, if only. I mean, most Leaf fans look back on Sundin as like, why didn't you leave earlier? You stuck around too long. We could have had fucking Jeff Carter. We could have been okay maybe, but it's okay. It's fine. It's over a long time ago. But yeah, I'm totally accepting of the fact that it seems like Crosby's gonna stick around. I just don't see him moving. A lot of people still very strong that he will go to Colorado and or Montreal. Why would he go to Montreal at this point? They're not close to winning. It's almost a similar situation that he's in Pittsburgh. Not really, but they're not winning. So why go to another team that's not winning? Why? So if he would do it, I think it would be a lot more sense to go to a Toronto or a Colorado. Maybe Toronto to test out that Canadian market, see how bad it really is. And yes, that would be one of the greatest cherries on top to a career, to end a 60-year drought, championship drought in Toronto, and finish off your career getting that cup to Canada. And dude, you would then, okay, now I'm starting to talk myself into it. Then Crosby would truly solidify himself as one of the greatest Canadian hockey players and Canadian heroes of all time. He brought the gold to Canada in the Olympics with the golden goal, and then if he could bring a Stanley Cup to Toronto, oh my God. But it is fun to think about Sidney Crosby playing for the Leafs, a second-line center behind Austin Matthews, like Crosby playing with a Nylander, or you slide Tavares on the wing. Oh my goodness, it would be amazing. It would be Ryan O'Reilly times 1,000. It would just be so amazing. The face-off skill, the playoff drive, the oh my God, it would be amazing. And Crosby has that amazing ability to bring up anyone that plays with him. So you could slide a Holmberg with him. You could slide, maybe Nicky Bobby slides in. Crosby may not have that ability as strongly as he did 10 years ago or whatever, but still, I would love that idea. Just get it out of your head. It ain't happening. Crosby can visit Toronto for other reasons that aren't related to possibly being traded to Toronto Maple Leafs. It's not happening. I would love it. I will probably dream about it tonight because it sounds so awesome. I would buy a Crosby jersey immediately. Oh, it'd be nice. Okay, so we'll try to stop thinking about that. Let's talk about the Leafs for a second since we're here, even though we were talking about Crosby originally. So congratulations to Crosby, 600 goals. But the Leafs, they're more important. They're winning a lot without Austin Matthews. Now that brings up the point. Do we trade Austin Matthews? Well, no. I don't think so. I've heard crazy theories out there like, we should look how good Tavares is playing now and look how good Marner is without Matthews, and you got Willie. Do we really need Austin Matthews? We could trade him away for a whole fucking team, basically. Like, all these things and move him for salary, whatever. There's all these options. It's like, it is tempting. It's a tempting thought, but it's insane, right? To trade him away. What I'm hoping is that the team learns that they don't have to just put everything through Austin Matthews offensively. They've shown that Marner has a shot. We all know that Willie can score. We know Tavares can score. And we've seen how much better Marner has been playing without Matthews. So I think, the Marner-Matthews on a line together, I don't think that should happen anymore. It's just their dynamic is way too predictable. Like, you have a pure passer, at least a pure passer when he's on a line with Matthews, and then Matthews a pure shooter. Marner's going to pass to him 99.9% of the time that they're on a line together, and teams are aware of that. It's very obvious. But what makes a line so deadly is not knowing what the fuck they're going to do. Where's the threat coming from? The whole line is a threat. If you have a line of Matthews, Nyes, and Marner, I would like Marner to have that lethal shot, but teams know he doesn't have that he's not going to use that lethal shot if he's on the ice with Matthews. He's going to try everything that he can to get that puck to him. If he's got to do a spin move, he's got to do some crazy, ridiculous 4% tile percent chance that pass is getting through. He's going to try and thread that pass through and get it to Matthews because that's what he does. He likes to pass it to Matthews. Matthews is his best option to score a goal. If he passes, there's no one better on the ice at scoring goals than Austin Matthews. So he's going to try and find Austin, and it doesn't make him that big of it. It doesn't make him, you need to make the defense think like, oh God, is he going to shoot? Is he going to pass? I don't know. And then you make them fucking fumble fuck what they're thinking, and then they just don't do anything. You score. And that's what we've been seeing out of Marner. He's just been a lot more deadly because you don't really know what he's going to do because he's capable of doing whatever the fuck he wants. So it's been really nice. This might be some of the best hockey that Marner has played in his career. He's been extremely impressive, man. Nylander's been ridiculous. Tavares has been ridiculous. These are great things. This means that the Leafs have depth. They are able to find some scoring when the big guy isn't there. Has it been a lot of scoring? No, but we knew that comes with the sacrifice of defense, and this is a sacrifice I've been demanding the team to make for years now. Okay, it's a lot of fun to win games 6-5, but we're not finding any real success with this. It's fun, yes. I would rather have them play the hockey, the low-event hockey they're playing now, have a 2-1 game, 3-2 game. I know they got fucked over they got fucking destroyed by Florida last night. That was expected. Saw it coming. But, they what the fuck am I even talking about anymore? I don't even know. But all we know is that defense wins championships, and I'm fine with the Leafs sacrificing a little bit of offense for that defense. Now, we know that their problem has always been the lacking of scoring in the playoffs. We know this, but the game that they're playing now, they're going to be able to... They're putting themselves in situations similar to playoff situations where it'll be harder to score. It's just going to be harder to score. You're not scoring the goals that they were last year. Those don't happen in the playoffs very often. Teams are so good defensively. They're so set in their systems. There's not a lot of room. So the way that they're playing now, tight checking, low event hockey, it's very comparable to playoff hockey. So I'm happy that they're getting more comfortable in these uncomfortable situations. So this is good. I hope that the offense will pick up when Matthews comes back, and I hope it doesn't shake up or change a lot of the great things that have been happening with the team while he's been gone. It just seems it's too predictable when Matthews is on the ice. Like, he's very good at slipping through the cracks and finding open ice and finding a spot to strike, but it's so much better if everyone on the ice is a scoring threat, and having Marner be a legitimate scoring threat instead of knowing that the pass is coming, I find that much better. So I hope Marner's play continues to be the way that it is. Keep them separated. Don't put Matthews and Marner together. Even on the power play, try and separate them. Like, I just don't think I know they want to play with each other. I just don't think it's good for them. I don't think it's good for the team. Yes, it's fun for them to play with each other. I just don't believe it's good enough for the team. So that's what I'm hoping for. What the fuck is going on with Matthews? Who fucking knows, man? Like, this has just been ridiculous. Something that started out as a day-to-day situation has now turned to 8 games missed. This has been like 3 fucking weeks now, man. Like, this is extremely concerning. And just because their team is saying, it's nothing to worry about, no. You missed 8 games. Something is seriously wrong. Something has to be wrong. You're seeing specialists in Europe. You're being extremely shady with any information about it. I mean, and it was a game time decision for Florida. It'd be kind of crazy to send him into Florida. Florida very upset right now. They've had some rough losses, and they took it out on the Leafs last night. And yeah, I imagine they're just kind of using. He probably would have been ready. He probably should have been in the game like a few games ago, but I think they're just taking advantage of a light schedule right now and just get him to that 95% instead of 90%. I'm not sure. There could be something seriously wrong, and this is something that's been a bit of a red flag with Matthews ever since he got into the league. You know, he's always had injury concerns. He's missed quite a few games already. I feel like he's missed more games already in his career than Ovi has in his entire career so far. So that will be the difference between Matthews not making the goal differential. He's just missed too many games. He just won't be able to make it up in time. Once the aging process catches up with him, injuries are going to be easier to happen. Ovi's just a different animal. He doesn't get hurt until this season. This is like the most drastic injury he's had of his whole entire career. He's missed like 50 games since 2005. Like, that's fucking crazy. So I'm very concerned about Matthews. I'm not concerned about the way that the team is playing without him. They're playing great defensively. They're scoring where they need to. Like, yes, absolutely, it'd be great if they had some better depth scoring. Like, it'd be lovely to see Robertson score a goal. You know, it'd be great to have fucking Max Domi in the lineup scoring goals, but he's hurt as well. Everybody is hurt in Toronto right now. It's a pretty big situation, but I mean, they have all their defense. They have the big guys except for Matthews, and it's not like Matthews was ripping it up. He was off to a fairly slow start for his standards, so I mean, this is kind of how the team is. I'm very excited. I'm happy that we have a legitimate shutdown pair for the first time ever in McCabe and Tanev. Like, man, I don't think in my viewing time I've ever had a shutdown pair in Toronto. Like, who would that be? I can't answer that. I do not know. So that's Q. That's pretty Q with the Leafs. They had a rough loss there. We'll see if they can bounce back on Saturday. But I mean, we should talk about the goalie tandem really quick. Stolarz and freaking Wall, man. I'm a little bit nervous that me as a Stolarz owner in fantasy, Wall is getting more starts now. I would like it to be split a little more fairly, but it's understandable. Wall needs to catch up a little bit. Stolarz maybe played a little more than they would like to at this point of the season, but they're both playing great hockey. And again, another situation where I'm like, I don't know when's the last time I felt comfortable with either goaltender going into the net. Back in the day, it was like, I don't know, like all the way back to Belfour days for me. When I knew Trevor Kidd was going into the net, I wouldn't bother watching the game because they would lose every time Trevor Kidd was in the net. So that was an awful pairing. I hated that pairing. I was like, Belfour's in net, they're going to win. Trevor Kidd, forget about it. Toskala, are we kidding? Gustafsson, are you kidding me? Reimer was good for some seasons there, but man, we have not had a tandem as making me feel as confident as Stolarz and Woll have so far. So Hopefully everyone can stay healthy there, but I'm feeling really good with the goaltending and the Leafs right now. You just got to get a little bit more goals, and I think, when you got one of the best goal scorers, if not the best goal scorer in the league coming back into your lineup soon, I think that'll help a little bit. All right, now I think is a good enough time to do the Contenders and Pretenders portion of the show. We're going to go through the standings in the NHL, focusing in on the wild card picture, and we'll compare my early season predictions to where the teams are standing right now and who has a good chance of making the playoffs and who I think is pretending and is going to fall out of contention. So let's start off in the East with the Atlantic Division. Currently, with 22 games played, your Toronto Maple Leafs are at the top of the Atlantic Division with 28 points. They have a 10-3-0 record at home and a 3-4-2 record on the road. Clearly, playing well at home this year. That's kind of something that's a little bit new for Toronto. They're plus on the goals against differential, but they're not scoring very much. They only have 65 goals scored so far this season. And they're going to want that to come up, but only 57 goals against is very low. One of the lowest in the league right now, if not, very, very good. So that has been very good for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I had them clocked in at third place overall in the division by season's end. I feel very strongly that they're well on their way to being in there. I have no reason to believe that the Leafs are going to miss the playoffs. They've shown with a star or two out of the lineup, they're still able to rack up some wins. Their goaltending and defense has been spectacular. I'm feeling very confident that the Leafs will continue, and they're having yet another very strong November, as is tradition. And looking good. Next up, second place is the Stanley Cup defending champion Florida Panthers, who had a bit of a rough go here, but they did kick the shit out of the Leafs last night, so that might start a turnaround here for the Panthers. Currently, 23 games played. They have 27 points, 7-5-1 home record, 6-4-0 on the road. They're okay. That's not a very impressive record. 13-9-1 overall. That is the thing right now. Teams are tight. Not a lot of teams are running away with anything. Florida 1 point behind the Toronto Maple Leafs. Easily can catch and pass them. That's not an issue. Florida, they definitely need to, they're scoring a lot, but they're letting in a lot as well. They're a +3 right now in goal differential. And after a rough week or so there, I think Florida is coming out of a little bit of a funk. It feels like they're having a little bit of a delay on that Stanley Cup hangover. They came out on fire, but it might be hitting them a little bit right now. So they might be going through a little bit of a dull patch, but again, don't think Florida is in any risk of missing the playoffs right now. I had them listed as first place in the division, currently second. I'm feeling pretty good about that one. Now we got the Boston Bruins. This one's interesting. Shockingly, even though they've fired their coach and things have not been going very Bruin-y, they're still in a playoff spot and third place in the Atlantic Division. 24 games played, so they've played a little bit more. An 11-10-3 record. 25 points, 6-5-2 at home, 5-5-1 on the road. Pretty similar, nothing crazy there. But they're at glaring minus in the goals for, goals against. 57 goals for, 75 goals against. So what they're looking at here is a slow start from Swayman, looking like he's slowly getting it together, but it might be, I don't know, it just might be, I'm not going to say it's a lost season for Swayman, but it's probably going to be a down year overall for him. It's been rough so far, and hopefully that'll get better with a coaching change. We'll see what happens. They brought in, I'm pretty sure I discussed that last week, Joe Sacco. They've done okay. I mean, I think since, when did they fire him? That was a while ago. I think, after that loss. So they've been 3-1 since the coaching change. So that's good. You keep that up. You go 3-1 for the rest of the season. You win 3, you lose 1. You'll be just fine. I had the Boston Bruins at second place. That is mostly out of fear. I do not want to be so very wrong about the Bruins again. So until they miss the playoffs, I'm going to continue to have them in the playoffs. And with a new coach bump, the fact that they're still in third place, even with a slow start, I looked over the roster. I still don't see a lot there that can, there's a lot of guys just not really going at their pace right now. Pretty much everyone across the board is down. at some point, half of them, most of them can turn it around, and the Bruins should be okay, especially if Swayman can get it back together. I'm not sold on the Bruins. I don't know if it's guaranteed at this point that they're going to make the playoffs, but an early coaching change could really help them out. We'll see if it wakes them up. So far, it's been decent. They got a game against the Pens next. They could win that. But, that goal differential is ugly. They could very well be this year's Washington Capitals. They squeak in with a bad goal differential, but they're the Bruins, and they just know how to squeak out wins sometimes. But I don't know. I can't count them out yet, but I can't guarantee that they're going to make the playoffs. But I had them second place, so for the sake of me looking good, they better make it. So the wild card situation. Okay, let's go to the Metro. We'll go at the Metro, and then we'll work our way down into the wild card. So the Metro, currently led by the Carolina Hurricanes, who are always doing very well. They're doing very well right now. 22 games, 16-5-1 record. Very, very good. 33 points. 88 goals for, 58 goals against, so they're crushing it there. 9-1-0 at home, 7-4-1 on the road. They're excellent at home, damn near undefeated. They're playing good hockey right now. They are injured in terms of goaltenders, but they're still winning. So that's a great sign. And then to get the goalies back in, they are letting a lot of goals right now, but they're still winning. So that's good. Carolina, they lost a lot of people last season. It didn't seem to bother them whatsoever. Svechnikov has stepped up. Necas has exploded. Like, he has just been nonstop domination. He has been incredible, an incredible story for them. The goaltending's been good enough. I mean, Kochetkov been good. Anderson's been injured as is usual. He's always injured, and hopefully he can get back sooner rather than later. But right now, Carolina is humming, as they always do. The big question with Carolina is, what will they do in the playoffs? Can they make it past their hump of the second, third-ish round that they've always been trying to get through? We'll have to wait and see. You have the new... Wait, where did I have Carolina? I think I had them third place in their division. I have them making playoffs. I think they're well on their way to making the playoffs again. With that much of a cushion, I think they're going to be just fine. New Jersey. Was I sold on New Jersey? Yes, I was. They're currently second place in the Metro. I have them listed as second place in the Metro for the season's end, and they're doing good, baby. It looks like the changes they made on the blue line, bringing in Markstrom and net, seems like that's all paying off. They are getting a little bit underperformance from Jack Hughes, but he seems to be getting it together. Wins are more important than points right now, and for stat pattern for Jack Hughes, but right now they're 15-8-2, 32 points in 25 games. They do have games on hand over most teams because they had that European series, so they're going to have some more extra games on hand, but they're making them count. They're right there. They're not at the point of Carolina good, and Washington's right behind them, but I think they're in a cozy spot right now. Not a lot of risk. They have a good cushion on them. So New Jersey looks like they're good. Washington, this one might be a little bit of an anomaly. I had Washington 5th place in the division. I don't believe I had them making playoffs. And, they were a little bit shitty last year. They did make the playoffs, but they probably shouldn't have. They had a really bad goal differential. Back to New Jersey, their goal differential, 84-65. So they're almost a plus 20. They're doing fantastic. Washington's even better. 90 goals for, 60 goals against, a plus 30. So that is substantially better than their minus that they made it into the playoffs with last year. Washington might be the most improved team over last year. They are humming right now. Without Ovechkin, they're still rattling off wins. They're able to score still. Even without Ovi, they've rattled off 4 goals, 5 goals. Yeah, man. So they're able to put the puck in the net. Their goaltending is... it looks like Tristan Thompson's taking it over, which is fine. That's good. As long as he can stay very consistent, that'll be good. Washington's been a strong road team. They're 8-2-0 on the road, 7-4-1 at home. They can get a little bit stronger at home. That would help them out a little bit. Washington, though, can they hang on to this with Ovi being out potentially 4 to 6 weeks, which is crazy? Oh my god, I've never seen him out that long before. He definitely won't be out for 6 weeks. Probably come back early. Don't guarantee it. Don't bet the house on that. But more that he's in history, he's always come back early. So they're doing fine, man. Like, all these guys are stepping up. McMichael, Strome has been absolutely freaking ridiculous. They have what's that other? They have the big guy. Is it Protus? I don't know if it's Protus, but they've just been fucking playing really good right now. So Washington looks like they are going to make the playoffs, man. They got a really good record, 15-6-1. That's a really good padding right there. They're doing well. Now to the wild card situation in the East. We have the New York Rangers currently leading that charge with 25 points, but they have been struggling. Let's take a minute here. So they've lost 4 in a row. They've lost to the Flames, they lost to the Oilers, they lost to the St. Louis Blues, and they lost to Carolina. So none of those are necessarily guaranteed wins. You would like a win there against Calgary, but Calgary's not as bad as we thought. Edmonton, they're kind of in some must-win games at times. The St. Louis Blues just got a new coach, so they're going to be rattling off some wins. And then Carolina, they're one of the best teams, if not the best team in the league right now. So, yeah, there's some understandable losses there for New York, but there's some strange rumblings going on in New York. It seems like some antsy feet, some uncomfortableness in New York. And the rumors revolving around Chris Kreider and the possibility of him getting traded upsets me a little bit. I think Chris Kreider is a heart and soul guy for the New York Rangers, and it would really crush me to see him get traded. And if the Rangers go on and win that Stanley Cup this year without Chris Kreider, I think that's wrong. He's just been such, when I think of the Rangers, I honestly think about Chris Kreider, how many big goals this guy has scored. Yeah, he's not having the best year right now. He has 0 assists, which is kind of an anomaly. In 21 games, you haven't even fucked around and got an accidental assist or something. He's got 9 goals. He's doing what he does. He still scores. And he's probably going to show up big in the playoffs. That's what he does. He scores big goals at big times. That's what he do. And if they want to move off that, I can understand it because they have, I think it's Will Cooley, who seems to have taken his role on the team. He seems like a big power forward guy that's just scoring these goals. He's the 3rd leading scorer on the team right now. So maybe they're starting to think about that changing of the guards where you have the Lafrenières and the Kakos and the Coolies and these guys starting to come up, get that ice time. But then you have the guys like Trocheck, you got Zibanejad, you got Kreider. Those guys, eventually they're going to have to get replaced. And honestly, if I was replacing any of the older guys, it's got to be Zibanejad. He has just shown the least consistency with the Rangers. He's not shown up as prominently in the playoffs when they need him to. If I was sacrificing someone to upgrade somewhere else on this team, Zibanejad would be the guy. In my honest opinion, I think he's a fantastic player. We just know that he has other interests. Hockey isn't his number one love. That's fine. That's okay. I'm not going to... But if the Rangers are thinking about getting rid of someone, I don't think Kreider's the guy I would want to get rid of, honestly. I would look at other guys that just haven't shown that consistency or that drive or that gear that we're looking for. And I would be circling Zibanejad personally. But there you go. So let me know what you think of that Chris Kreider stuff going on. Should he get traded? Will he get traded? What are they looking for? What are you expecting to get back for Kreider? Are you going to... What's out there that would be an upgrade on Kreider without you sacrificing too much from your own team? I don't know, man. I feel like it's just mostly rumors. I don't know if that's going to go anywhere. I know right now the Rangers have lost 4 in a row and things seem really bad, but they're still in a playoff spot. They're in the wild card. They are falling behind, though, in the Metro. They have 25 points in 21 games, so they have games in hand. Only 1 on Carolina and Washington, but they have 3 on New Jersey. So they're 12-8-1. 70 goals for, 60 or 59 goals against, so they're plus 11. At home, they could be better, 5-4-1. On the road, they've been better, 7-4-0. But yeah, those losses are starting to stack up a little bit. You don't want that, obviously. So the Rangers, they seem to be antsy. I can't really tell you right now what their problem is. I have not been watching Ranger hockey. I'm a little bit surprised that they're this low down. I expected better than them. So yeah, maybe it's a little understandable that I honestly think that these rumors are their way to light a fire under the team. I don't think Kreider's going anywhere. I think they're talking about it just to get them just a little bit of fear. Just a little bit of fear. Hey, you might get traded if we don't start winning. So beat the shit out of the Flyers the next game, and I think the Rangers should be on their way to a playoff spot. They're too good of a team to miss, man. They're just way too good. I had the Rangers first place. So I believe in this team. I really, really do. And I think they will get better. I think they will get into one of those top 3 spots, rather. Washington cools down or New Jersey gets caught. I think Rangers are going to heat back up, and they should be okay. Then you got the Tampa Bay Lightning in the second wild card spot. Currently, 21 games played, 11-8-2, 80 goals for, 66 against. So 7-3-1 at home, 4-5-1 on the road. So they got to work on their road game a little bit. At home, they've been good. Yeah, man, Vasilevsky's given them some very good goaltending. He's been bouncing back very nicely. Gensel's been a great addition for the team. He's been good. Hedman's doing his thing. They really haven't missed Stamkos as much as some people might have thought. I mean, you look at what Stamkos did with them last year. You know, power play merchant, I don't want to use that as like a negative thing necessarily. He was very, very good at it, but a lot of his points were coming from the power play Stamkos, and he's not very good 5-on-5. So I would imagine Guentzel would be an upgrade 5-on-5, maybe a slight downgrade on power play, but a very good fit. Tampa's looking really good, and they're bouncing back very nicely. They look like they want to make some waves, but there's just so many teams right behind them. I can't guarantee that they can hold on to it. I don't know. I have Tampa Bay at 4th place. I have them as a wild card, but you're looking at the teams right behind them, man. So points-wise, Tampa Bay is at 24. The following teams behind them, 23 points, 23, 22, 21, 21, 21, 22, 20 and 19. So even the farthest down that list, Montreal Canadiens, they're only 5 points away from Tampa Bay. That is a big gap, 5 points at this point in the season. That's hard to build back up, and a lot of things have to go right or go wrong for Tampa. They have to lose all those games, and Montreal's got to win all those games. Will they do it? Probably not. But I have not seen it this close in quite some time. Like, no one's really, really out of it in the East, honestly. Like, Canadians have been rattling off some wins. Pittsburgh, they feel pretty dead. Maybe a trade, something crazy could happen. The Islanders don't look very good at all. Ottawa's falling apart. Columbus, they're trying, but there's some really fun stories there. Some guys are starting to break out, like Marchenko and shit. Detroit's trying to hang on. Philadelphia's still up there some fucking how, some way. And then Buffalo. So, could any of those teams potentially get into one of these 8 slots? Which one has the best chance? Oh boy. Okay, well, Buffalo's been playing good lately. They have a pretty they're a +3 on the goals differential. Philadelphia, I can't see Philly making it. That would be an unbelievable performance out of Tortorella. Their goaltending is just so bad. I can't see Philadelphia doing it. Detroit's been painfully inconsistent. Again, their goaltending's a little bit of an issue there as well. Columbus is Columbus. Like, they're pretty barren, but they keep rallying. They're a really fun team to root for. They just keep going. But again, their goaltending is a little bit risky. Detroit is struggling to score. Ottawa, oh boy, they're scoring, but they're letting in too much. I don't know if they can outscore their problems. The Islanders are just fucking infuriating. They seem to always lose every lead that they've ever had and just can't close out a fucking game to save their lives. Pittsburgh, ancient. Montreal, too young and inexperienced, I think. So the only one that I can really see is Buffalo, but like, fuck, man, it's just their goaltending makes me nervous. They have been winning. They're getting Tage Thompson back, and when he's been in the lineup, he looks like Tage Thompson of old, where he's almost that 50 goal scorer, 100-point guy. Tuck's been great. Some of their younger guys have been inconsistent. Their defense, pretty inconsistent. Their goaltending, inconsistent. If there is one team that I can see maybe making it, it is Buffalo. Oh, fuck. Detroit. I really don't believe what I'm seeing in Detroit, and Ottawa's just falling apart again. And once Ottawa begins to spiral, they have a real tough time getting out of it. I'm not really convinced about Ottawa's game right now. Like, I like how much they're scoring, but it doesn't look like Allmark's fixed their problems. And I think their problems lie in their defensive systems, their defense, and all that, because no matter what goalie they bring into Ottawa, he just gets lit up like a fucking Christmas tree. Former Vezina winners, it doesn't matter. Ottawa's defensive system sucks. Their defense is just no good. So they got to work on that. They clearly, like, it kind of reminds me of the Leafs a little bit, where it's like, hey, we have the offense, but you got to learn how to play defense if you're going to win. And it's very tight, man. It's very, very tight. Like, the quality of a team that the New York Rangers are in Tampa Bay, the way that Washington is playing right now, like and Ovi coming back, like it's really hard to see them falling out. It's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be a hell of a battle. I personally, the only team that I have a little bit of a hope that could make it is Buffalo. Who would fall out? Fuck. I don't. Boston. Hopefully Boston falls out. That's the team I'm eyeing. That's the one I want to fall out. I don't want New Jersey to miss. I want Washington to make it for the sake of Ovi to have one more good run. Rangers, because I have so much put into them. I think they're a great team. They'll turn it around at some point. Yeah, man, that's how I'm looking at this right now. I'm not seeing it, but it is a tight race, man. Like I said, at any point, Montreal can go on a hot spree and they can win fucking 5 straight games and bam, they're in a wild card situation. But it is 5 points, man. 5 points, 6 points is a lot to make up at this point in the game. And both those teams, New York and Tampa, they have games in hand on pretty much everybody except Columbus there. Pittsburgh's got the most games played. They're at 24, so they really seem like they're falling out of it. The only thing you can hope for is New Jersey blows it with their games in hand. You hope that the Boston new coach flair falls off and they go back down to where they were and they fall out of a playoff spot. Boston's really the only weak spot that I see in the Atlantic Division where someone can sneak into that third spot. I really can't see Florida or Toronto falling out. Carolina's not going anywhere. New Jersey would have to have a hella collapse. Like, even if Markstrom went down, Jake Allen's been great. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's going to be tough. Let me know what you think. Is there a team here in the East that's not currently in a spot you can see jumping in? Buffalo, Detroit, could Columbus do it? I'm really not convinced with these teams, in all honesty. So overall, with my predictions for where I have these teams finishing, we'll go over them quickly. Toronto 3rd, Boston 2nd, Ottawa 8th. Really didn't believe in Ottawa. Montreal 7th, Florida 1st, Tampa Bay 4th, Detroit 6th, and Buffalo 6th. So the team that I believed the most in was Detroit, and I don't feel that way anymore. I feel more strongly about Buffalo at this point. I don't feel that bad about Ottawa anymore. I don't think they're that bad. They have impressed me, but I still don't have them playoffs. Metro, Carolina 3rd, New York Rangers 1st, the Islanders 4th, New Jersey 2nd, Pittsburgh 6th, Washington 5th, Columbus 8th, and Philadelphia 7th. So I definitely didn't have a lot of belief in Columbus. I mean, with the whole tragedy and everything, it was fair to say. Philadelphia, I mean, sure, they're where they kind of belong. Pittsburgh, I had a little bit more hope, I think, with them than they have been playing. But yeah, it's fallen off pretty hard. I don't feel very good about them. I believed in the Islanders more than I thought I would have. I really don't believe in that. I felt like Patrick Waugh would have turned it around, but they look like the exact same team. The team that struggles to score and cannot hold on to a lead. So I really don't believe in the Islanders right now. I'm feeling pretty not confident about that 4th place, honestly. That easily is taken over by Washington. So those haven't been some okay ones, some not so, but pretty okay. I'm not horrified at my early on predictions. So let's go over now to the Western side of things and take a look. We got the Winnipeg Jets just running the league right now. 23 games played, 5-0 record, 36 points, 90 goals for, 56 against. Yeah, they're doing quite nicely there. Plus 30, 40, 30, 34. Is that math? I don't know. 9-1-0 at home, 9-4-0 on the road. They have been stringing together some losses lately, but you got to come down to earth at some point. No one's going 82-0, so Winnipeg's going to have to start losing some games at some point. Have they been the nicest losses? No, not really. They kind of got stomped by Nashville, and they kind of got stomped by the Kings. So, not ideal, but they look amazing. They look so fucking good right now. Just everything is humming for Winnipeg. So, they've been great. Continue playing great. And Hellebuck, you continue being awesome. I had them... Where the hell are they? Winnipeg. I had them 4th. Wow, okay. They're a lot lower than I thought. I've always been high on Winnipeg, man. Like, even this year with a lot of people being low on them, I felt like I was higher than them than that, but 4th place, I still had them as a playoff team, but they are crushing it right now. And then Minnesota, kind of another surprise. 22 games, 14-4-4 record, 32 points, 4-3-1 at home, 10-1-3 on the road. They are fantastic on the road. 71 goals for, 54 against, so they're a pretty nice plus right there. Yeah, and they got a pretty nice cushion here in the Central right now alongside Winnipeg. I did not see this one coming. I had Minnesota 6th place. I felt like this was going to be the final year of kind of that cap crunch, and then next year they would explode and be a pretty competitive team. But here they are, making me eat my shit right now, and they're even injured. They have no Kaprizov. They don't have Zuccarello. I think Brodin has been injured, and they're still managing to get wins. They got a 1-0 shutout win over Buffalo. They did have some losses there to Winnipeg and Calgary, but they're playing well above their weight limit, I would say, right now. Very impressive. Goaltending has been spectacular. So if they can keep that up, they're definitely going to be making a playoff spot and making me eat my words. We have the Dallas Stars. Pretty inconsistent team this year so far. 21 games, 13-8-0 record, 8-2-0 at home, 5-6-0 on the road. So they're great at home, need a little work on the road game. Goals for, 72, 56 goals against. So very comparable to Minnesota. They're scoring more than they're allowing. Always a great thing for success. That leads to good things. But, Jason Robertson hasn't been quite himself. Rupe Heinz hasn't been quite himself. Matt Duchene has been fucking insane. He has been outstanding for them. The younger guy, Stankoven's been pretty good. Wyatt Johnson kind of a little bit slower than usual, but he'll get it going. And you're still getting quality play out of the veterans, though they're a little bit overpaid at this point, but they won't be for much longer. Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin still getting it done, chipping in some offense here and there. Their defense took a bit of a blow on the right side. They lost Hakanpää. They lost... who the fuck else? They lost Tanev. So, they're definitely hurting there a little bit on defense. It seems like Heiskanen and Henley haven't been really the best together as a top pair. Looking for a little bit more out of Heiskanen, but this is an incredibly well-built team. They're very deep. They're very in all positions. They're very, very good. I had Dallas first place in the division. Right now, they're in there, but they're 10 points behind Winnipeg. So I don't know at any point if you're going to be able to catch up to Winnipeg. 10 points is a hell of a lot, and even Minnesota is 6 points ahead. That's quite the gap there as well. So I might have overestimated Dallas a little bit. Definitely underrated Winnipeg and Minnesota by a lot. We go now to the Pacific Division leaders, right now being led by Vegas. 23 games, 14-6-3 record, 31 points, 8-2-0 at home, 6-4-3 on the road. So another team that's great at home, not so much on the road. Scoring a ton of goals, but they're letting in kind of a lot too. 87 goals for and 70 goals against. So that's a lot, man. They're scoring a lot and they're allowing kind of a lot. So you're going to want to figure that out a little bit. Goaltending's been up and down. So Samsonov was playing amazing and now not so much. Other guy, Aiden Hill, I don't know if it's like that fucking Frozen 4 or whatever that's getting all these Canadian goaltenders playing a little tight, but Canadian goaltending across the board this year I feel like has been underperforming outside of, Hellebuck's not Canadian. So yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on with our Canadian goalies. They're struggling over here. But Vegas still doing well, 31 points. They have a decent cushion over wildcard teams. They're not defending Stanley Cup, but they're looking like they want to be in that contender spot again. And so far, so good, man. They looking good. I had them listed at, where are they? Looking, third place. I have them third place right now. Yeah, looking like they're going to make the playoffs. Shouldn't be much of an issue. Calgary, currently second place in the Pacific. I did not see this one coming. This is a very pleasant surprise, considering I had them 7th place in the Pacific. So here they are at second, and they're still going, baby. 23 games, 12-7-4 record. So not the best, but they're getting points. 28 points total, 62 goals for and 63 goals against. So that can't stay around for too much longer. And the play of Dustin Wolf has been spectacular lately. Can he keep it going throughout the rest of the season? I don't know. He's not been in this position as a goaltender yet in the NHL, but he is looking great so far. I've been very happy and pleased with the play of Dustin Wolf. He's getting in numerous games in a row, and he's rattling off wins in a row, which is fantastic to see. They have a couple losses in a row now, and it's going to be more of a struggle for them to score. We'll see. What's going to be interesting is what they decide they're going to do at trade deadline. Are they going to add or are they going to take away? Honestly, I don't know, man. I really don't know. I would personally think it's the better plan to retool with Calgary. Overall, like, it's a very chippy team, and they're definitely punching above their weight class right now, which is great. I think it's going to be a slow trickle out of the playoff picture, or they hang around there and they might be able to hang on to that wild card spot. But the team, the way that it's made up, I don't know, man. Like, it just doesn't look like that threatening of a team. But if Dustin Wolf can continue to steal games away, Calgary might not go away. So, yeah, I had them 7th. Didn't really have them in a playoff spot, but here they are, and I'm pleasantly surprised. They're also one of the funnest teams to watch in the league right now. This is why I fell in love with Calgary back in the day. They're just that never quit. People always counting them out, and they win the games they're not supposed to. This is why I fell in love with Calgary, and they're doing it again. They are that team this year, the team that shouldn't. And maybe there will be a Jack Adams consideration for Mr. Huska, because no one had Calgary in second place right now in the Pacific. Then you have Los Angeles third place, 23 games, 12, 8-3 record, 27 points, 69 goals for, 65 against. Another team, very good at home, 7-2-1. On the road, not so much, 5-6-2. They've been up and down, win one, lose one, so that's kind of been the story with a lot of teams. At this point now, everyone is pretty close in the West. From Los Angeles to the very bottom, 27 points to 18 points. So there's teams that are definitely in it. Some teams that aren't. We'll get there. So with Los Angeles, I don't know, man. Like, they're still struggling to keep pucks out of their net. They're not scoring as much as I thought they would increase. It was said that they were going to be giving up or changing from the 1-3-1 to a more offensively driven system. Haven't really seen a lot of bonus out of that. Maybe they want to go back. I don't know what they're going to do, but so far they're hanging in there, but I'm not solid on the Kings right now. I had them at 4th. I see them more in that area instead of being in the top 3. Like, I can easily see Calgary, Los Angeles slipping down and getting passed by the teams that are in the wild card. In the wild card, you got Colorado, Vancouver, Edmonton, Seattle, St. Louis. There's Nashville still at the bottom. So I don't know. Okay, we'll get there. All right. So Colorado currently top in the wild card spot, and they're chugging. I think if I waited another few days, they would be in that second or third slot. They're on fire right now. They're getting healthier, and they're getting better by the day. So 23 games played, 13-10-0 record, 26 points, 77 goals for, 84 goals against. So that's bad. They're letting in way too many goals. Their goaltending is a major issue. It's been very inconsistent. They're trying to get some performances out of Georgiev. Annanen's been able to get some wins when they're really struggling. But yeah, they very early on, they were getting lit the fuck up. It's getting better, but yeah, they really got to figure that one out. So yeah, last few games, that was a rough one. They got stomped by Tampa 8-2. But outside of that, their goals against have been lower. It's been getting better. So I'm very confident that Colorado is going to get it back together and they're going to make it back into the playoffs. That goal differential will get better and their record will get better. They're 7-6-0 at home, 6-4-0 on the road. So they haven't really figured out where we're good yet. They're just kind of plucking along, but we know what Colorado's all about. They got McKinnon going crazy. Rantanen's going nuts. Makar's going nuts. On the note of Makar, I have something here on Makar. He is I think it's the fastest currently playing defenseman, I think, to have 100 multi-point games. So, hey, good for Makar right there. So that's pretty killer. We'll go back now to where I was in the hockey predictions. All right, so Colorado. I had them. Where's Colorado? I had them second place in their division. The only team I had ahead of them was Dallas. So, yeah, I can see Colorado shooting back up. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. Next up, you got the Vancouver Canucks. Okay, interesting team right here. 21 games played, so they have some games in hand here that they can build on. 11-7-3 record, not amazing. 25 points, 67 goals for, 67 goals against. So, pretty inconsistent. The goaltending's been up and down. Lankinen had some rough games there. He was getting overplayed, getting lit up, and then he just had he shut out the Bruins. And then Shilov's has been getting lit up too. So they really could use Demko back sooner rather than later. And who knows how good Demko's going to be. He has not played in a very long time. It's not like he's going to go in there and be a Vezina candidate on day one. I would expect kind of like Vasilevsky when he had a slow start. It's probably going to take him a while. It may not be till next year if we see Demko playing back to the way that people would like to see him playing at. So I don't think Demko is 100% going to solve what ails the goaltending woes in Vancouver some nights. And, JT Miller, we don't know what's happening with JT Miller. He's going to come back to the team this year. I've heard things that maybe they trade him and try and get someone that they know is going to play. Like, that would be honestly crazy because JT Miller is such an amazing player. I wouldn't trade him, but thankfully Pettersson's gotten it going. He's been playing very well with Sherwood. Kiefer Sherwood, want to shout out that guy. He has been a hitting machine this year. He's had numerous 10-plus hit games this season, and he's like the only guy doing it. So he is a hitting machine. I would love to have him on some of my hitting leagues, but he's kind of hard to come by right now. So with Vancouver, yeah, man, they haven't really shown that they're that bad to fall out, but they haven't really shown that they're that good as last year to really convince me that they're guaranteed to make a playoff spot or anything like that. I had them listed at second place. Oh, wow, okay, I was pretty high on Vancouver. I don't see them going that high. They would be in the Central, right? Are they in the Central or are they in the Pacific? No, they're in the Pacific, so they would have to pass... I can see them passing Calgary and or Los Angeles. I can't see them at this point passing Colorado, unless Colorado at some point Colorado will figure out that goaltending rather through a trade. Something's going to happen. They will get desperate enough, I think, to do something. So I feel very confident about Colorado making it. Vancouver, I'm iffy, still very iffy. It's going to really determine on the future of JT Miller and what's going on with him and Thatcher Demko. If Petey, if Petey continues to play how he's playing, and if JT Miller comes back and he continues that play, and Demko comes back and he continues that play, Vancouver should make it into the playoffs. Should, but not a guaranteed. Calgary would have to fall out, and you got a team like Edmonton it's the Edmonton freaking Oilers. They got, that McDavid kid. He's not going to be denied after getting so close last year. Edmonton just is going to be trucking. They're not in a playoff spot right now, but they're going to try. Let's talk about Edmonton. So Edmonton, 22 games played, 11-9-2 record, 64 goals for, 69 against. So not normal for Edmonton. Generally, they score at will with Draisaitl and McDavid, but Nugent Hopkins has been underperforming. The new guys they brought in, Skinner and Arvidsson, aren't doing much. Hyman's been almost invisible on this team this season, which is not good. Bouchard has been very inconsistent. Rather he's doing nothing or he's having a 4-point game and he's playing amazing. Darnell Nurse is hurt. The goaltending's been garbage. There's a lot of problems here with Edmonton, but they have Draisaitl and McDavid, which can make those problems not that bad. They can just outscore their way. They have two amazing superstars, but is there enough in the tank? Did last year take too much out of them that they can't drag this team by themselves? Because they're pretty much doing it by themselves at this point. There's really not a lot of support in Edmonton right now. It seems like the losses of Broberg and the other guy are a little bit more damaging than initially thought out to be. I mean, to have Broberg there on the right side right now it'd be so nice. But yeah, dude, this goaltending, Stuart Skinner has been fucking brutal. Has played his way right off of the Team Canada roster and even consideration. They don't even want to bring that name up anymore. It's just bad juju. They've been playing extremely inconsistent. 5-6-1 at home, 6-3-1 on the road. So they're a little bit better on the road, but they're losing 2, they win 1, they lose another, they're back with a win. So they gotta get some wins rolling in consistency, and once they get that going, that'll help them, obviously. But Edmonton not looking great right now. It's been a very slow start, not as bad as last year, but it does seem like Edmonton does take its time to get going, but time is running out. You are only 1 point out of a wild card, so it's not over by any means. But there's some big glaring issues in Edmonton, man. They got to figure this shit out. I'm not sold on this team. I'm definitely not sold as them as a Stanley Cup contender right now. Absolutely not. But again, you have McDavid, Draisaitl, so anything can happen. You had the Seattle Kraken, the poor forgotten Kraken. 23 games, 11-11-1, 23 points, 64 goals for, 64 goals against. And that's as much of a mid-ass team as you can find right there. They're pretty much straight 500, scoring as much as they're letting in. They're not really exceeding anywhere. 7-5-1 at home, 4-6-0 on the road. I mean, yeah, they're kind of just the Kraken right now. There's not. I mean, Jared McCann's playing great. I like that guy a lot. Outside of that, I don't know, man. Like, the Kraken are just kind of doing things. Their record literally is win one, lose one, win one, lose one. So very mediocre. Not a lot of hype around Seattle. I barely hear anybody talk about them. Hopefully I will spend more time with Seattle at some point when something more interesting is going on. But right now, they're outside of the playoff spot. They're not far out. They're 2 points out of a wild card spot. But what on this team really tells me that, like, yeah, they're going to explode. Like, their goaltending is nyeh. Their offense is nyeh. They're just kind of nyeh. And, you know, there's not really much behind them that really scares me either. But everything ahead of them is probably better. Even Calgary, I think, maybe at this point. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of hope there for Seattle either. St. Louis, all right, they got the new coaching change, so that could help. They're rattling off some wins in a row. But prior to that, nothing special either. They have one of the more games played in the league, 24 games, 11-12-1, 23 points, 61 goals for, 76 against. Ooh, that's really bad. Yeah, they're struggling to score. They do have quite a few guys out of the lineup there for a bit. Thomas is back now, so that's going to help him out a little bit with offense, but I don't know, man. That doesn't look good. They're going to have to really turn things around. They're lucky they're in the position that they're in with a goal differential that bad, considering that Seattle has a even goals differential and St. Louis is a negative 15, and you have the same amount of points. I think you got some luck going on right there with St. Louis. So that makes me feel even worse for Seattle. I feel better about St. Louis having a chance to get in there, but it's a slim chance, honestly. I should probably go back and talk about the positions I had some of these teams. I had Edmonton in first place. Ooh, doesn't look good right now. Seattle had them in fifth place, so they're right around where I thought they would be. The St. Louis Blues, where the fuck are you guys? Fifth place, so I have them pretty much where they're going to be. Utah, seventh place. I have them exactly where they're supposed to be. Anaheim, where'd I have you guys? Sixth place. Hey, exactly where they're supposed to be. Look at that. I'm doing all right here. So Anaheim, jeez. It's the Anaheim Dostal still. So if they didn't have Dostal, they would probably be where Nashville is with probably not very many points. Right now, they're 9-9-3 in 21 games, 21 points, 55 goals for. That's bad. 62 goals against. Not as bad. 4-6-1 on the road or at home. 5-3-2 on the road. Slightly better on the road, but not really. They're still rebuilding. They're doing a little bit better than they should be, but not really. So not a lot to say about Anaheim. Utah, sadly, has fallen off. I was hoping a little bit more out of Utah at this point in the season. 22 games played, 9-10-3, 21 points, 60 goals for, 69 against. Yeah. And kind of starting to fall down a little bit here. They've won 2 of the last 5, and it seems things are starting to trend downward for Utah. The goaltending, Ingram is good, but he's not stealing games like he was last year. And don't think Utah will make it. San Jose ain't going to make it. They got 19 points, 66 goals for, 89 goals against. That looks like the worst differential in the league right now. One of them, Pittsburgh's pretty fucking bad. Oh, man. San Jose bad. Rebuilding team, they got a long way to go. Chicago, same deal. Rebuilding team, got a long way to go. But they're not letting in not as many goals. Only 65 goals allowed to, San Jose's 89, Nashville's 73. So they're not allowing as many goals. That's been a little bit better, but they're not scoring. And Connor Bedard is looking more and more frustrated. How much longer? He's already getting rather frustrated. What did you expect, kid? You're not going to be in the playoffs for a while, so get used to it. And then Nashville, the biggest shock of the season. They're in last place. Are they still in last place in the NHL? Yes, they are. Wow. That's sad, man. They're tied for last place in the NHL with the Chicago Blackhawks. And like, dude, they got Roman Josi, they got fucking Saros, they got Stamkos. Like, this is embarrassing for Nashville. 23 games, 7-12-4 record, 18 points, 54 goals for, 73 goals against. Yeah, that's bad, man. They are not scoring goals whatsoever. They're allowing too many. And yeah, man, it looks like those changes have not worked at all. The threat of rebuild doesn't seem to have done anything. They've lost 2 in a row here. Yeah, okay. 18 points. They are currently 7 points away from a wild card. Ugh. I don't know, man. Oh, boy. They would have to go on another insane run like they did last. You would literally have to probably go on a 10 to 15 game streak of wins to get out of this hole that you've built yourself here. So, not good for Nashville. This fucking sucks. For all the hype that Nashville had coming into this year and all those big moves and everything, and for them to be last place in the NHL still at this point in the season, we're a quarter of the way, man, and they're still last place. Doesn't look good. I don't expect them to finish last, but I think they're too far gone at this point, man. They're going to need a miracle to make it. Where did I have Nashville? Where did I have those sumbitches at? How bad? Oh, man, I had them third place. Yeesh. I had St. Louis 5th, Utah 7th, Chicago 8th. Yeah, yikes. Ouch. Yeah, well, hey, man, I'm not the only one. A lot of people's brackets are going to get fucked up by Nashville being this bad. They were not supposed to be this bad, but I guess they weren't supposed to be that good either. Oh, my goodness. So, that is my Contenders and Pretenders a segment here. That took a long freaking time. So is there anything else that I should touch on before we leave you guys? So we talked about the Flames being really hot, talked about the firings. I talked about the very strange record of the Vancouver Canucks that they can't win at home. It's so weird that they can't win at home. And I watched the Hockey Guy. He's a huge Canucks fan, and he says that it's simplifying the game. They simplify their game on the road, and when they play at home, they try fancy stuff, trying to appeal to the crowd, and it's not working. So they need to simplify their game. That apparently will help them out. So we'll see if Vancouver is able to do that, transition that road game to the home game, and they might start playing some better games. Minnesota, Kaprizov is injured, but he's not as injured as badly as initially thought. That is fantastic news for Minnesota. If they don't have Kaprizov, they're pretty fucked. So they're going to get him back sooner rather than later. I didn't see the total timeline, but he'll be back. And then one final thing, San Jose Sharks retire Joe Thornton's number 19. They raise up his what the fuck do you call it? A jersey to the rafters. Very nice. And I believe it was Patrick Marleau that told the nice story of Joe Thornton letting in like these homeless people into his house and taking care of them and like keeping it a secret because he just didn't want people to know about it, like to embarrass the homeless. Like he's just trying to be a good guy, and Marleau all emotional telling the story. Very nice moment. So congratulations to Jumbo Joe Thornton. I have one of his jerseys hanging up in my room. Yes, it is a Toronto Maple Leafs Joe Thornton jersey. I could not help myself. It was so cheap, and I thought, like, what a jersey foul that is to have a Joe Thornton and a Toronto Maple Leaf. Oh, I had to do it. So there you go, everybody. I think that'll do it. Let me know who you think are the real contenders and the real pretenders of this league. The biggest pretender. Okay, someone that's in the playoff spot right now that I don't think will make it. Your biggest pretender goes to... Oh, don't make me say it. Oh, is it Calgary? Oh, no. I don't want it to be Calgary. I like Calgary. Boston. Fuck it. That team sucks, man. They got no drive. Boston are your pretenders. They're not going to make it. Fuck them. And your biggest contender, the team that's currently in the playoffs that I believe the most in, Winnipeg's pretty good right now. Oh, yeah. Oh, it'd be tough. Oh, but... I don't know. I'm not going to pick. I'm chickening out. Fuck it. No, I'm not. Who looks very, very deadly right now. That's the thing, man. Like, no one's really running away with it outside of Winnipeg, but they've started to look more like a real normal hockey team lately, and they're not, like, as far gone with the league as people think. Like, they got 36 points. Hold on, let's just sort it by league. That would be a lot easier, eh?
There you go. There. So they're only leading by 3 points. Carolina's the next best team. So your top 5 teams in the league are Winnipeg, Carolina, Minnesota, New Jersey, and Washington. Who saw that coming? I most certainly did not. I mean, Carolina, sure. Winnipeg, I thought they'd be good, but not this fucking good. So yeah, man, by far, Winnipeg, one of the bigger surprises. Nashville's the biggest shocking surprise of the year. They're so freaking bad, but let me know. I think Boston's probably your biggest pretender and semi-Calgary, and your biggest contender has got to be, I can't even really say Carolina because their goaltending is such a mess. Winnipeg, their playoff history's been such a mess, this, along with Minnesota. New Jersey, like, I'm not really sold. Like, I haven't seen enough in the playoffs out of these guys to really say that they're a contender. Vegas, they've done it. They could be a big contender right now for me. Toronto, like, I kind of giggle every time I think about them becoming Stanley Cup champions. That's crazy. They're 7th best team in the league right now. Calgary is the 8th best team in this league. That is fucking crazy to me. My 2 favorite teams are 7 and 8. That's awesome. So I'm going to sleep easy on that one tonight. But Carolina, New Jersey, Vegas, Florida, Dallas, Colorado, those are your threats. I think those are real threats. Toronto, possibly one of their bigger, more threatening looking teams right now, just because their defense and goaltending so good. But we'll see what happens when it comes to the playoffs. So there you go, everybody. That's my current contenders and pretenders. So let me know what you think of my thinks and my thoughts and all that stuff. Let me know what who you think are pretenders and contenders. Probably said that 35 times. My apologies, but thank you, everybody, so much for listening. You the best. You want to be even more the best? Of course you do. Make sure you're hitting that review and like the podcast. Share it around with a few thousand of your friends and enemies and all that great stuff. I upload all these episodes to the YouTube channel, GamerGX Videos. All the links are in the description. Got a Twitter page. You can follow along over there. Put up announcements. You want a question answered on the podcast, send in a message on Twitter. You got an email address there for you. There is a YouTube channel. Drop a comment. Anything about hockey, wrestling, video games. I'd love to answer that. Outside of that, I'm not an expert. I'll try, but I can't guarantee results. So there you go, everybody. Thank you yet again for listening and or watching, and we'll be back again with some GX Bluffcast.